Trailerites. We know that word from the 1954 full-length movie called The Long, Long Trailer that was Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, and it is a riot. They called themselves Trailerites, so I guess we're the next generation of Trailerites.
We're the new gypsies. You know, having trailers, with the economy, you know, going to hell, it's actually a very practical way to live right now. Instead of trying to own a house or even rent a place, renting a little piece of land and having your own house, so to speak, is a real viable way to live. And for people like us who are trying to make a living as artists, it's probably the only way to live right now. In a way, you know, I suppose I identify with this aspect of the orphan trains, which is this dislocation, relocation. That's been a constant theme in my life.
Alison had come to stay in Fayetteville, and that's when we found out about the orphan trains. This was during the period between 1854 and 1929. These were unwanted children, these were orphaned children, these were children who were living on the streets of New York City. And the Children's Aid Society was an organization that was put together to try to do something to help these children. So they were put on these trains and sent pretty much to all points west. I think every state in the Union at the time received some number of children.
The amazing thing about it to us when we first heard about it was that we didn't know about it, and everybody we talked to had never heard about this amazing part of American history. It was not in history books, but there had been a PBS documentary that was made in '95 for the American Experience, and that was really our first exposure to it. A creative writing student of mine, a graduate student, had asked me if I'd ever heard about the orphan trains, and I had not. She said, well, you need to see this documentary. But before I even saw it, I was just haunted by those two words. Orphan trains. I thought, what in the world is that? And then when we actually saw the images and heard the stories of these people who were now in their 90s talking about how they had been put on trains with no idea where they were going. They were being given away to total strangers who showed up at these train stations. I just, you know, as a writer, I thought that this is my subject. So we started doing research. We went to some reunions. We went to the first Orphan Train reunion, which was really a reenactment. First reunion for us was in Arkansas in '97. We dressed up in period costume and got our instruments and rode on the train with about 23 children dressed up in period costume, and with maybe about 12 actual orphan train riders.
We ended up getting a grant through the Arkansas Humanities Council for 3 years, and which is also one of the initiatives that allowed Alison to quit her tenure track job in Arizona and come to Arkansas, and we then started going out 15 to 20 programs a year.
It's a multimedia program now that's evolved over the years, and it always at the core was music and this story that I wrote about. When we're singing, there's images behind us of the children, and then I do a recitation. Actually, I've done this story so many times that I've memorized it, and I actually do it off book now and can add a little bit of drama to it, more than I could if I was reading it off the page.
They don't want girls on this train. You got to be tiny or ugly to ride. I feel sorry for you boys because, well, everybody's sons are in the war, and there's going to be all those fields for you to plow.
The Children's Aid Society was a gathering organization for orphanages in the New York area. And the children would be brought there. They would be given a shower, a new suit of clothes, a little cardboard suitcase, and a Bible. and they would be told that the next day they'd be getting on a train and they would be going out west to find new homes. Some children were told, actually, I found out later, that they were actually told that their real parents were waiting for them out west. And some of these children were taught songs and dances and things to do to endear themselves to prospective parents. It was really, by today's standards, you know, it's very poignant. And also not much consideration, I think, for the children. It was the end result they had in mind, to find homes for these children. But siblings were separated in these lineups. They'd get to a town, the children would be lined up on the platform, and people would come and pick and choose.
Once I rode an orphan train.
So Phil and I both come from homes that were lacking one parent for different reasons, and having to make our way and find out, again, who we are and where we belong.
Anyone who's ever felt loss can identify with this story, but at the same time, it's not one of being totally devastated. There seems to be a certain element of the will to go on. When you have a program, or you, as artists, whether it's literature or music, when you have an element that you're able to take out to people and move them in such a way, and we have such a really good way of connecting with people. As an artist, I couldn't think of anything more valuable than that.
Become a docublogger. Log on to docubloggers.org to share your opinions and story ideas, or get out your camera and create your own docublog.